Hi, my name is Chardall. Welcome to the SG Sports Talk channel. As the Golden State Warriors beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 96 to 82 on Warriors ground at Chase Center in San Francisco, California. Now, I would like to welcome Barrier Baller 18 to the postgame show.
Chardal, what's going on, my man?
Hey, what's up, man? How did you feel about the Klay Thompson return today?
I thought it was amazing, and it started out with that introduction video. You know, the Warriors did a phenomenal job to evoke so much emotion in that video before the game started. And in fact, you know, my wife was like, I might cry because it was so emotional, and it feels great to have Klay Thompson back on the team, ready to play. The player intros. Notice how he was the last one to be introduced. Usually Steph's that last guy, but hey, Klay's return. He's the man. You know, got a standing O. Chase Center was the energy was off the charts, and it was really exciting. And how about his performance? Strong performance coming back for his first game in 2 years. I was really impressed. What'd you think about Klay's performance?
I think it was a great performance by Klay, cause I think it like the beast was awoken. Like he's back to his old self, with his 3-point shooting. Like we could see that tonight. Like he was just showing that off tonight.
Yeah, 3 for 8 on 3-point attempts. And Chardal, you know what? Coming back from the injuries, right? The ACL and the Achilles, I knew the jump shot wasn't going anywhere. I knew Klay was going to come back and still be able to shoot it at a high level, but it was the athleticism. I'm thinking, is he going to come back at his athletic peak like he was right before the injury? Because if you notice that 2019 season before the ACL, he was dunking more balls than he had ever. He was finishing at the rim with authority. So after these injuries, I was like, well, I don't know if we're going to quite get that back. I don't know if we can expect that. And how about game one? He comes in with a vicious dunk. You're muted, Chardal.
Did you see when Klay Thompson he imitated he was snarling. Curry does that snarling face when he does make something really intense.
Yeah,
Klay
yeah,
Thompson's
I
trying
did
to
notice
imitate
that.
that on the court. When Curry snarls, when he
Yep.
just to show that I'm coming for you. Does
Yeah,
that
I know
show
exactly
the
what you're talking about. Yep.
Does that show that Klay Thompson is kind of in a way he can be vicious in a way that don't mess with me. Like if when I'm hot, then I'm hot, and you don't want to get in my way when I'm shooting, because I can light it up sometimes if I want to.
Absolutely. And it feels so good to
Yeah.
have Klay Thompson back on the team. And really, you know, Steph Curry was in a shooting slump these last couple games coming into this game today. And the presence of Klay Thompson, right? Steph starts off 4 of 4 on three. So Steph started out hot. And I feel like a lot of that was due to the fact that Steph's a tremendous player, but also just the vibe of the team and the morale was high because Steph was back. Klay was back.
So first for Klay Thompson, do you agree that without Klay Thompson the Splash Brothers are not complete? Klay Thompson has to be there in order for them to be the Splash Brothers. They're not the Splash Brothers if Klay is not present. It's
That's a
just it's
fact.
just
I mean,
simple. It's just
brothers,
simple.
you
It's
need two. You need at least two if you're some brothers, right? And Klay was missing. So it was like the lone splash, the splash soldier. But now
so
Klay's back. The
so
Splash Brothers are in harmony.
So when Klay Thompson was playing it at Chase Center, it kind of missed that I got to see him in the past, but then for a while he wasn't playing, so I didn't get to see him on the court.
Yep.
So that was kind of a little bit, nostalgic to not see him play for a while because of the ACL injury that he suffered against the Raptors. And I believe, was it game 4 of the finals? I'm not sure which game it was.
Yeah, yeah. Might have been
One
game
of,
4 or 5, something like that.
but But how do you think he do you think he had a good performance tonight? I mean, it wasn't like the 60-point performance that he did against the Kings.
Mhm.
Um, he's not. It's gonna take him a little time for him to get to that level of performance that he did in those other games against the Pacers, where he hit 14 threes in a game. Then he hit 37 in a quarter against the Sacramento Kings, and then he got 16 up. So he's gonna take time to go back to that, that self. That's gonna take some time for him to, you know, get to that level of stardom.
Exactly. In his first game back, he was playing limited minutes. He only played 20, and I think we can see that to ramp up game by game. So he played 20 minutes. You could see the team was really trying to get him the ball. I mean, they weren't forcing it to him, but they wanted Clay to get his shots up, and he took 18 of them. He was 7 for 18 on those shots, 3 of 8 from distance. He had a block, which I thought was sweet to show off his defensive versatility because we know he's always had that. And he finished with 17 points, 3 rebounds. And I was really encouraged by his first game back.
I mean, would you compare when Clay Thompson comes back? Would you compare it to like Trey Lance when he got his first start and he was kind of getting acclimated to the game? He wasn't really like trying to get acclimated to his game, so he was kind of like coming in. He's like he wasn't really good, but he's kind of getting more acclimated to the game.
Well, I would say in a sense, but it's also Clay Thompson has been in the NBA 11 years. So that's where it's a bit different because Clay's coming back. Yeah, he's taking some time off, like Trey Lance kind of coming in off the bench after sitting out for a long period. Uh, but Clay Thompson's had so much experience because, again, this is his 11th year.
So when Clay Thompson hits a three, do the fans feel the vibration? Like they feel some vibration in the air that he's gonna do something incredible, and we're not expecting it, but he's gonna probably pull it off.
Oh, yeah. The energy at the Chase Center was off the charts. You could feel it just watching the game on my TV. I could get a sense of the energy. And it was really great to see. You could, after one of Clay's plays, he made a play, hit a shot, and he's pumping up the crowd, like talking to him. Felt so good just to see that happen and Chase Center embrace him. And it was an emotional day. The emotions were high in that game, and I know for a fact the Warriors really wanted to win that game. Draymond Green turned out he couldn't play. Right, he tweaked his calf or felt some calf tightness in the warm-ups, so Draymond didn't play, but he was like, look, I need to be in the player intros and start the game with my brother, Klay Thompson. So Draymond started the game, and then he fouled so they could sub him out. But the Warriors absolutely wanted to win Klay's first game back.
So when normally when Clay gets introduced, Steph he got introduced last, so was that kind of pretty unique for them to introduce him last? Because normally it's Steph and then it's Clay afterwards. Like
Well, yeah, no, usually it's Steph's the last one, and that's kind of the
yeah.
one that pumps up the crowd the most, and then Chase Center explodes. But for this game, Clay's first game back, yeah, I noticed in the player intros that they put him last so he could get that ovation and just that cheer from the crowd. And I thought the Warriors absolutely killed it. It was smart to wait until we had a home game to bring him back just for that moment.
But do you think that anytime you come back at home, the atmosphere is just super electric? You always like playing at home because that's like what you aspire to do is like to come back at home and play in front of the fans, just to show the love and support to all the fans because they always come and watch Steph and Draymond and all these players. So do you think that the atmosphere is super electric when you're back at home in front of all the wonderful fans out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you hear athletes talk about it all the time. They feed off the crowd. And let me tell you, Dub Nation, we got one of the best, most devoted fan bases, and we got the best fan base in all of the NBA. I might be biased though.
To me, when the thing that really found it fascinating to me is when when Steph Curry was playing in Brooklyn in the Nets stadium, people were chanting Curry at the free throw line. Nets fans were chanting
MVP.
Curry when he was shooting at when he was playing when Brooklyn was playing Golden State in Brooklyn. Nets fans were chanting Curry, even if they're not, Warrior fans. They were chanting Curry at the free MVP. Like Nets fans were chanting MVP for Steph Curry in Brooklyn
I
when they were
know.
playing the Nets.
I
Like
know.
they're
You
not
know
even
what's so
Warrior
funny
like
about
Curry
that is
fans and like
Durant. I bet you
yeah.
Durant secretly hated that because Durant plays for the Nets, right? And supposedly, talk was that he didn't like how all the Warriors fans pretty much loved Steph Curry, and Durant could never get that same amount of love as Steph could when he was on the Warriors, right? So now he's playing for the Nets, and his fans are still cheering for Curry. Oh my God, I love it. I
Do
guarantee you, Durant
do you
hated it.
think that do you think that's pretty crazy that Durant's on Brooklyn and they're chanting MVP for Steph Curry like they're like Durant says like you know don't I mean can are you showing love to me like why are they showing love to Steph Curry like
And they do. I've watched some Brooklyn Nets games, and they chant for Kevin Durant as well. But in that, see when Steph Curry's playing a road game, especially an Eastern Conference game, the Warriors only play the Nets at Barclays Center, which is the Nets arena. They only play there once a year because the Western Conference teams and the Eastern Conference teams, they only play each other twice a year, once at home and once on the road. So a lot of these fans, they don't get to see Steph. So when Steph's putting on a show like he did that night in Brooklyn, the fans were gravitating because that's what they wanted to see. I mean, that's a hot ticket. There's a lot of people like, oh, the Warriors are in town. Let's go watch them. Steph killed it. Yeah, so the fans were excited.
I mean for me the Warriors fans I like how passionate they are because they're super like they love their team so much that they're probably gonna go to Boston or somewhere where they're playing outside California. They're loyal. So if they're playing in Toronto, some fans are gonna buy a ticket to Toronto and go and see the Warriors play up in Toronto. If they're playing in Boston, they're gonna do the same thing. Buy a ticket to go to Boston, go up to Boston and watch them play, even if it's a ways out of California, they're still gonna go there. So that shows how loyal this franchise is. That any place the Dubs are playing, they're probably gonna go over there and watch them play over there.
Oh yeah, no, Dub Nation's everywhere. And what do you say we touch on a few other players? I know this is a Clay centric show, but we gotta talk about Gary Payton for a sec, or at least I do, because this is a guy who, when they brought him in training camp, he wasn't guaranteed a roster spot. He had to fight his tail off for everything he's gotten in the NBA. And what he's doing this season, he is by far the most lockdown defender at the point guard position that I've seen. I mean, Gary Payton could guard 1 through 3. I mean, I've seen him hold his own when he gets switched on to a 4. And the way he's picking these other players' pockets, it's ridiculous. So Gary Payton, another phenomenal performance, and he is crushing it this year.
For me, I like Gary Payton the second too because he's also son of a former a legend, Gary Payton, and I
The
really found
glove.
that he teaches him the fundamentals, like learning from the fundamentals from his dad, so he can kind of incorporate what he learned from him and add that to his game and make it even better because you always want to learn from your dad. His dad played basketball for like the Supersonics, the Heat, all these great teams, and he's learned a lot from him. And now you can see how he's getting even better. Like he's probably gonna be a superstar for this Warriors team. Just he's always learning all this wonderful things from his dad because dads know a lot.
No, you're right. Yeah, Gary
Steph,
Payton.
Del Curry.
Gary Payton was one of the best defenders, and that's what Gary Payton II has learned absolutely from his dad is how to defend at a high level.
Because do you think that really makes somebody's game better when you can learn from your father and then learn from what he taught you? Because dads always teach their kids like fundamentals, learn the fundamentals of basketball, and then kind of amp that up and make it even better. So when you go and perform on the court, you'd be like a totally different player because you've learned all the fundamentals. You know everything about basketball. Now you can go and prove it on the court and show everybody what you got.
I agree with that, no doubt.
Do you think? Do you think? Do you think? Do you think Del Curry taught his boys how to play basketball? Seth Curry and Steph Curry.
Oh hell yeah! And I've seen the clips of Steph, right, running around in Toronto at the arena, at the game, whether it's pregame or postgame, I don't know, but he's shooting in the NBA arena. Little 8-year-old Steph and Seth. So both of them, they were out there, and they've talked about it. Dell brought his kids around the game. He was around the team, so these two picked a lot of probably about how you need to work hard and put in that work ethic and get the shots up. You need to practice. They saw that firsthand, so that absolutely helped out the Curry brothers.
So would you say when you learn from your dad and you incorporate your game, does it make you a better player because you've learned a lot from him and ask him like how do I make my game better? Like, can you please give me some tips? And then he can give you a lot of good tips on how to improve your game, how to improve your defense, better offense, pass the ball, shoot the ball, all those stuff. All those all those little tidbits and little stuff that you need to make better.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The coaches hopefully are doing a lot of that. Because the coaches get paid a lot and spend a lot of time with the players on the court. But yeah, when you have a dad who also played in the league, absolutely, that's a resource. Because I know Dell's watching these games and telling Steph what he sees, or if there's a tweak they could do, maybe there's a way they want to run an action. Yeah, I'm sure Dell helps out Steph a lot.
And for that, I also in the past I also attended a basketball camp, a Warriors basketball camp.
Oh yeah, tell
At
me
Oracle
about it.
Arena, the
Tell me about
old
it.
the old arena, and that was really cool because we got to shoot on the actual Warriors court, and we got to sit on the actual seats that the players sit on, like when they sit on time on breaks and stuff like that. I
That's
got to
dope.
sit on the
Yeah,
I got to sit on the actual seats that Steph Curry sits on Warriors games.
that's big time. What's funny
Like
is I shot a ball. I played a game on the Oracle Arena court. I played a game there because I was playing in this adult league basketball, and we won the championship. And if you won the championship, that was like the prize, was you got to go to Oracle and play a game on the court. So I did that, and it was a blast.
But are there any other players in the game that surprised you other than Gary Payton the second?
Kevon Looney, 18 rebounds. I mean, 4 steals, a block. Kevon Looney, really, man, where would this team be without Kevon Looney? Because he's really holding it down in the paint. The Warriors, we know they like to play a lot of small ball. Bielitsa's been getting minutes at the 5. Can't wait till Wiseman's back. And speaking of Bielitsa, man, he's kind of been struggling lately. He was 0 for 5 from the field today. I believe all of them were 3-point attempts. Yeah, 0 for 5. All of them were threes. And I feel like Bielitsa's gotta get a better, kind of improve his shot selection. I don't know why he sets up so deep behind the 3-point line. Like, he's taking deep threes when it's like, dude, get a little closer to the line. Big
Would
dog.
you compare like to Nemanja Bjelica? Would you kind of compare him to Jimmy G on the 49ers when he makes when he makes throws that are super high, like they're high, and they don't he doesn't really pay attention to how he's when he's making throws, they don't connect well. Would you say he's kind of like that, or like it's not a comparison to compare him to like how Jimmy G plays
Yeah, I
and
mean,
how Nemanja Bjelica plays?
cross sports comparisons feel like can be difficult to make, but I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, because sometimes Jimmy's missing throws, like Nemanja is missing shots. So I see where you're going.
But do you think Clay Thompson's gonna get better today? He had a good game. He had like 14 points. Do you think he's as he keeps playing, he's gonna get way better? Like he's gonna have better numbers. He's gonna put up better. He's gonna have a better game. Cause today it was like his first game, so he couldn't really have like a 60-point game or a 55-point game.
Yeah,
Cause that's
he's
not.
shaking off some of the rust. And I thought it was really impressed. I thought he looked really good out there. The jump shot was looking fluid. I saw him nail one off the dribble. He caught one and squared it up when he's open. And I was really encouraged by the Klay Thompson's performance. He got to the bucket, and I told you it was the dunk that was like, oh my god. I mean, I got out of my seat and was like, Klay is back. Like it looked like it was pre-injury Klay. He looks the same, Shardall.
Like when you think of Clay Thompson and Wiseman, would you kind of say that it's kind of like Buster Posey, Joey Bart, the new catcher for the Giants? Would you say that it's kind of it's kind of similar because Tom Wiseman's learning from Thompson to be a better center, and then Bart's learning from Posey on being a better catcher, so he can be a better catcher in the
Yeah,
league.
but
Because
Clay's not a center though. Clay's not a center though. Wiseman's a
no,
center. Clay,
but I'm
yeah.
saying that, Clay's teaching Wiseman how to be a better center. Like he's saying that you can learn from me on how if you want to be a better center, like he's like a mentor to that's the word I wanted to say. Clay's a mentor to Wiseman as Buster Posey's a mentor to no Buster Posey's like a mentor to Joey Bart. That's what I
Yeah,
meant
yeah,
to say.
yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
get my
yeah, yeah,
words
yeah.
out correctly. Yeah.
Oh no, you're good. No, I got exactly where you're coming from. Because
Yeah,
you
he's
see
like a
some of that.
mentor.
Did you see the boat video when Klay Thompson's driving the boat and James Wiseman's on the boat with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're already vibing. Clay's already showing him the ropes. He's teaching him how to drive a boat, for Pete's sake. I guarantee he was teaching him how to be a better basketball player.
But do you in your opinion, do you think James Wiseman is one of the tallest players? Like is maybe he wants to aspire to be like Yao Ming someday. He's probably 7. I don't know. He's 6 foot something. He's really tall. So is he
He's
aspiring to be like
7 foot or 7'1". I've seen him listed at.
So is he aspiring to be like Yao Ming or Shaquille O'Neal, being that tall?
You know, those are some of the greatest centers of all time, right there. I would say Wiseman should mold his game kind of into like a Kevin Garnett kind of role because he's not big like Shaq. Like Shaq was 7'2", but he was also like 300 and I don't know, 25 pounds. Like Shaq is gigantic. Wiseman isn't wide and quite as big as Shaq. He's got kind of a more, I mean, he's still strong, but he's got to build more like Garnett.
So at Chase Center, do you agree that if it's Klay Thompson's day, they should make a statue of Klay Thompson outside Chase Center? Like once you're entering to the arena, you can take a photo with like a statue of Klay Thompson before you enter into the arena.
Oh hell yeah! But you know what? I think that's something that they do when the playing days are over. I mean,
But
Curry,
I
you got to
but
have a
I
statue for Curry, Clay, and Draymond. And me personally, I also really like Kevin Durant. I was a huge Durant guy. Uh, I mean, I'd probably put one up for Durant too.
but do you think Durant
Maybe not. You know
Curry
what? Scratch that, man. Scratch that, man. Durant didn't earn. Durant, I don't know. I don't know if he's earned a statue yet with the Warriors.
but who do you to win the MVP award next year, who do you think is in line to win the most valuable player award in 2022 from the Warriors?
I mean, you're talking most valuable player. I mean, Steph Curry. Steph Curry's the guy that he's the one that makes this thing go. He scores the most points, hits the most threes. So if anyone's going to win the MVP on the Warriors, it would be Steph Curry.
So in my opinion, do you think the long absence of Klay Thompson affected his shooting because he was not playing in the team for a prolonged period of time? Did that really affect his shooting in any way because nobody got to see him? So Did it
Well,
affect his shooting?
last year, I would say this year the offense has flowed better because we got some veterans. Otto Porter really helps with the spacing as a shooter. Jordan Poole's coming into his own, so that has also provided a boost and kind of another option to play off of Steph. But like last year in particular, I mean, we were asking Steph to do just a ton with the ball, when he's also so good off the ball, running around off of screens. So, the offense is flowed well today, even though, we didn't, I don't think we hit the 100 mark, but it was an encouraging performance. Steph kind of broke out of that little mini slump we spoke about earlier.
So my other question is that how do you think that Klay Thompson's return it will affect Jordan Poole's most improved player award chances? Because
I don't
Jordan
think it'll
Poole,
change it too much. I don't think it'll change it too much because Jordan Poole's still going to be the sixth man, and in that role, Clay coming back is going to push Jordan Poole into the sixth man role, right, coming off the bench. So, Chardal, do you think that Jordan Poole could win Most Improved Player and Sixth Man of the Year?
it could really depend on whether he can win both. I mean, if he shows that he's capable of winning both, he probably could. We just have to see if I mean, I don't know about that, but I think he might be capable winning that because he's a really great like two way a really two way guard. He can play point guard and shooting guard. So I think he could win most improved player and the sixth man of the year.
Yeah, I'm a
I
big
mean, I
Jordan Poole fan. I think Jordan Poole, he just keeps getting better and better and better. And we've heard that he's an extremely hard worker. He spent the most time in the gym. I forget at what point, but they were looking at players' key cards and who's spending the most time in the gym. And Jordan Poole was that guy.
Do you think when Clay Thompson shoots, how does he get so much power? Does he use his legs and elevate off his legs and get the shot up, or how does he get his shot? Like he's pretty efficient on his shooting. Does he like use his legs and elevate off of his legs to get the ball up into the air and up into the net?
Absolutely. It starts with the legs, and he has textbook shooting form just right there. Everything, and it's the same release every time. The great shooters will tell you, you don't want to be changing up the different ways you shoot it. It's all about the technique, and Clay's perfected it. He's got one of the most beautiful jumpers I've ever seen.
Do you think Clay's consistent? Because sometimes in basketball, people say that you have to be consistent with your shot. Like if you're consistent, you have to keep being consistent with how take your shot. They have to be like the same every time. Do you think he's pretty consistent with how much with the amount of shots he takes?
Well, he's very consistent in his technique and the way he goes about getting them, and that's why he's always amongst the league leaders in 3-pointers made, and he shoots it at a high clip. I mean, that's Klay Thompson. He learned a lot from his dad. We're talking about dads, and Klay's dad was also in the NBA.
Something really cool about Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. It would be really interesting to see him in a tag team, like a WWE tag team partners.
No, we can't do that.
in the
Those are our star basketball players, Chardall. I don't want them out there fighting nobody.
um so um uh do you so you like Kevon Looney? Is there any like other player who you think like excels really well, or is it just those ones that you named? Jordan Poole, um Gary Payne the second, and then are those the only ones that you think, or are there other
I mean,
players that
Wiggins
come to
has been
mind?
playing phenomenal. Well, Wiggins has been playing phenomenal all year. He's having a career year. Tonight, 34 minutes, only took 9 shots. He was 3 for 9, 0 for 3 on threes. So Wiggins had a quiet night, but that's not going to last. I'm confident he's going to bounce back strong in the next performance.
I mean, what qualities have you found in in Andrew Wiggins that make him a great basketball player?
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. He's the most level-headed, even-keeled player. Like you don't see him screaming at the officials, like like you somehow like Draymond does sometimes. Wiggins is just he's always level. He always has a level temperament, and he plays defense strong. He's a strong defender. The jump shot keeps getting better. The only thing with Wiggins, sometimes I'd be like, Wiggins, you got to work on your free throws because he shoots it somewhere around like 70%, and you feel like he could get kind of like closer to 80, in my opinion. But I absolutely love Andrew Wiggins. That trade, remember that trade we did, D'Angelo Russell for Wiggins? We absolutely won that trade. And in fact, we also got James Wiseman. Was it Wiseman? Anyway, um,
So when you think of him,
absolutely. Yeah, things are looking good.
When Draymond Green gets loses his cool and patience, would you say it kind of looks kind of similar to what Antonio Brown did on the field when he took off his helmet and left off his field and stormed off, like that type of
You know,
where like behavior that you cannot that's not acceptable. You can't be taking off your jersey and running off the field and fighting people, like that type of thing.
yeah, I
I've
mean,
seen
Dre's
Draymond
got some of
do.
that. Yeah, Dre's got some of that. I can see where you're getting that from. But Antonio Brown he's a different beast. I feel like Antonio Brown's even more disrespectful.
Would you say that sometimes Draymond gets in those things when he gets into a fight and sometimes he argues with the refs sometimes? Do you think that athletes can't do that? Because it's like you don't want to see an athlete just go crazy, like just like, well, you can kind of compare Antonio Brown to like just fighting everybody and just like saying like he just like sometimes his behavior is uncontrollable. Like you don't. I don't normally see Draymond Green as a beast who just does things and just gets uncontrollables at some situations when he's like, we can't control him, man. This guy's just too much for us, man. Like I don't know how to contain the guy. Like what do we do? Like
You know what? But
it's
what I
just
will say is, I think that he's gotten better the last couple years. Like earlier in his career, he was worse towards the officials. But
would you
I'm gonna be getting out of here pretty soon, Shardall. So if you got any
would
last
you
things you want to touch on, now's the time.
um so my question is that are there any were motivational messages that you want to say to the Warrior fans and 49er fans out there? Just some things to say to them.
Absolutely. Well, I'll start off with the Warriors, and I'm excited. I think the Warriors put together an NBA championship caliber roster, and Clay's back. He looked good. As for the 49ers, I mean, we're headed to the playoffs. It was a spectacular game today. Great win, overtime. Jimmy G started out slow, and I was saying put in Trey, but actually they stuck. I was wrong. They stuck with Jimmy, and he performed a lot better in the second half. Slicing the D, post to Ayuk and slants, and Eli Mitchell ran hard. So we're in the playoffs. We're playing America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And I think the Niners got a shot to win that game. And I'm fired up. And hopefully the Niners can find a way to pull out a playoff win.
I just want to thank Runa Pereira for listening to us. He says 49ers win, baby.
Shout out to Waruna.
At least we got one listener. I mean, I don't care if we I don't I mean, one listener is good. I mean, I don't care if we have one listener is to me, I can take anything. Even if we get one listener, that's good to me.
Hey, Shardal, that's what's up. And I appreciate you having me on. I had a blast. Anyone out there, you can subscribe to my YouTube, Bay Area Baller 18. Same thing on Twitter. And make sure you like and subscribe for Shardal because he's killing it. Hey, great show, Shardal. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
But it was really great having you on.